All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Joshua Denny, and I have the distinct honor and privilege this evening of hosting this very special invite-only Zoom presentation that I think will help you get a lot of information on what's going on in the world today as far as health is concerned. I think everyone's concerned about that. I know I am. But I met a gentleman recently that really changed my view on I think humanity in a lot of ways. I kind of given up on some people because I was like a lot of people saying that, and it doesn't seem like most people in the profession of health care about people's health. At least that's what it was looking like for me. Because I know a lot of my family and friends are going through some challenges, and typically the response is just get some drugs, do some take some chemicals. And I know there's some validity to that. I'm not knocking that, but I think there's a lot more to it than just that. There's nutrition. There's a lot of other things. And when I met this gentleman, it was like a breath of fresh air. I learned about his story, and these days I take vouching for someone or promoting someone very seriously because when you do that, you got to make sure that you're promoting the right person. And so I took my time really investigating him because he's charismatic. You'll see he's a good looking guy. He's got a nice haircut like me, and he speaks well. But he's the real deal. This guy is as sincere as it gets. He really cares about people, and he's made a huge stand, a really difficult stand against the federal government when there was a lot of opposition, and some of you guys know what I'm talking about. When the pandemic was going on, he felt that he could take care of people in a different way and did so. 11,000 people went to his clinics. None of them died. All of them positive with COVID. None of them got really sick. None of them died. He was treating them in a certain way. And he thought that he's going to get an award. I would give him an award, but instead of getting an award, the federal government sued him, told him basically to shut up. And he said, "No, I'm not going to do that." And he stood up and fought. And most people would have shrank away. He was a wealthy guy, had everything going for him, beautiful family, lots of money, and could have just said, "All right, cool. You know what? I'll just go ahead and do what most people would do, and turn away from a big bad fight like that." But not him. They forgot, or they just didn't know who they were dealing with. He truly is like a David versus Goliath. I think CJ said it best when he said that in Houston, and he's right. He stood up, and not only did he fight, he won. And he won because he's right. And he made that stand. And I think all of us are beneficiaries of that. So I'm going to get out of the way because he's here now. And I'm going to stop talking and turn the floor over to my good friend and now someone I consider a mentor and someone I respect, Dr. Eric Naputi.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for that enthusiastic introduction. I'm smiling as you're speaking because you know what a long, strange trip has been, probably for all of us on this call, right? And look, let me just jump into this and just say that I'm excited and happy to be here because I know what's possible. I'm excited to be here because I know what's happening next, and I can't wait for some of you to see it. And I know a lot of you, whether this is your first time being exposed to this conversation today or not, are really excited about what's possible as well. So before I get into the project, before I talk about BioLimitless, before I do that, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Eric Naputi. I'm a physician by trade. I'm a serial entrepreneur by DNA and genetics. But really and truly, I'm the son of a pig farmer from Central Illinois. I just want to help people, right? That's just who I am. And my background. So I have a doctorate in chiropractic, a doctorate in natural medicine. I practice primary care and have for 21 years in Missouri. I've owned and operated over 30 practices of my own. I've got 2 surgical centers that I still operate and run today. I was part owner of a hospital system in Missouri. I've owned a nutraceutical company and a pharmaceutical company that does biologics. I don't tell you that to impress you, but just to impress upon you that my background in the healthcare space is pretty deep. And I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And let me just tell you, there's more ugly than anything. And I got into healthcare because I really love the human body. I really wanted to help people. And truth be told, my mother got me into it. Why? Because ever since I was a little kid, my mother had me when she was 18 years old. And ever since I can remember, she was always sick. And I really vowed to make sure that nobody else's mother went through the things that I went through with mine. And up until a couple of years ago, we've really successful with doing this. And Josh had mentioned to you that during COVID, during the pandemic, things got a little squirrely for all of us, but they got really weird for me really quick. You see, I owned a molecular genetics lab. I still do to this day, and we do a test called PCR test. And that test is a test that they used as a gold standard for measuring COVID. Well, I offered in April of 2020 to run 116,000 of these tests. I was going to donate and give to free to the state of Missouri. Long story short, I got on the phone with the health department, the director of the health department, my lab director, and we found out the testing that they were doing just didn't make any sense, and it was gonna show 90% false positives. That was when my BS detector went off and said, "Man, we got a problem." So then we started taking care of all these patients, and over 11,000 patients in our practices that were positive with COVID. Nobody died. In fact, nobody even went to the hospital. What do? We treated them with vitamin IVs and ivermectin and vitamin D and zinc and C and all the things that you normally treat coronaviruses for. And when nobody got really bad from the treatments we did and everybody got better, instead of the government reaching out to me and asking me what we did, they sued me for $508 billion. And they did it as a government overreach in order to intimidate other doctors. And I know that because I've testified now in front of Congress 3 different times. And the last time that I testified in front of Congress, one of the congressmen said to everybody who was there, maybe we should be paying attention to things that people like Dr. Naputi and his other colleagues have to say, because if they were right about what was going on during the pandemic, and we still are to this day, what else are we right about? And the answer is a lot. And so I'm not trying to tell you any of this to impress you, but just to impress you with the fact of who I am and what I stand for. Because the government could have, I lost $5.5 million just in medical bills, or not medical bills, in legal bills. And I could have signed an agreement with them where they put me under a gag order and they gave me my money back, and I could have walked away silently into the night and been done, right? I can't do that because I have the ability and I have the responsibility to tell people the truth. And I believe that all of us in life have a divine providence. Mine just happens to be in health and wellness. I've developed myself and my colleagues have developed a very unique way of looking after people to help them find the root cause of their problems. And how novel is that, to have an idea and understanding of helping people get to the root cause of their problems and not just treating them with pills, potions, lotions, and drugs. Which, by the way, there's a lot of people that are alive today because of the pills, potions, lotions, and drugs they're on. But according to the data, the 3rd leading cause of death in America is iatrogenic death. It's death from medicine. So the 3rd leading cause of death in our country is the thing that we're talking about to keep us healthy. Sounds a little oxymoronic, doesn't it? And oh, by the way, after I had my tussle with the United States government and beat them, they now have partnered with me on 2 of my biotech projects, because once they saw that my science and data was real, now they want to do work with us. I mean, how crazy, like, just, you can't make this crap up, And so the reason why we're here tonight is not to talk about me, because this is not about me. This is about we. It's for us to talk about a project that we're launching literally in just a few days. Even though it's our soft launch in Vegas, it's still a pretty hardcore global launch of what we're doing. And the reason why it's going so well is because of the purpose and the mission behind what we're doing. If there was a way for people to find out the root cause of their health problems through precision diagnostic testing and precision therapeutics that are from a more natural standpoint, if you could learn how to take care of yourself, wouldn't you want to do that? And that's what we've created. Whether you're a lay person like many of you that are here watching tonight, and you want, from the comfort of your home, the ability to understand more about yourself than you've ever had, because self-care is real healthcare. I want you to understand that self-care is real healthcare. But how can you take care of yourself if you don't know about yourself? I will tell you, as a practicing functional medicine doctor for the last 20 years, literally seeing hundreds of thousands of patients, I love looking at blood tests to measure cellular health. But if I don't have a full nutrigenomic genetic profile on my patient, it's hard for me to tell them how they should eat, how they should sleep, how they should exercise, what supplements are most important for them, how does stress affect their body, how does drugs and caffeine affect their body. I need to know about them. Like if I'm going to be a mechanic, my father's a mechanic, and if he's going to work on a vehicle he doesn't know about, you know what he looks at? He looks at the user's manual. What if there could be a user's manual for you? We have a very precise nutrigenomic genetic test that all of you can have access to after August the 17th, where we can literally swab your mouth and tell you more about yourself and your health than you've learned probably from the last 20 years combined of all the healthcare experts that you've seen. That's powerful. That's a very powerful tool. And by the way, we're doing it for fractions of the cost that it would be done normally in genetics doctors' offices. Why? Because this is a healthcare system that we've created that's by the people, of the people, and for the people. We've also created precision therapeutics. There's 2 formulas that I'm releasing in August that are foundational formulas. One of them deals with a problem that many of you have seen me working on for the last 20 years. It's called leaky gut. Many of you that are on here are patients of mine that your life was changed, whether you had depression and anxiety, whether you had autoimmune issues, whether you had chronic pain, whether you had any type of digestive issues. And we together were able to fix it by going down the path of correcting what I believe truly is a pandemic and an epidemic. It's called leaky gut syndrome. We now have patented delivery solutions for a master microbiotic formula that truly can help reduce the risk of irritable bowel disease and help the body heal from leaky gut, which I can go into deeper. Why is that foundational? Even Hippocrates, the father of medicine, said first fix the gut and everything falls into place. So why are your doctors not doing that? What if I told you the vast majority of anxiety, depression, insomnia, and stress-related neurological problems are because the gut's jacked up? What if I told you that most people have neurotransmitter problems, that have issues with dopamine, so they have addiction issues, they have issues with happiness because their serotonin isn't produced? What if I told you that all came from your gut? What if we told you that there was data that shows that if you got the gut right, that works at a 86% higher efficacy rate of helping people with depression and other neurological issues? Why are we not doing that? Why are we not educating people on what health really is? Doctor is Latin for teacher. So BioLimitless is also set up to teach people how they can be educated themselves. And if you're a doctor or you're a telehealth practitioner watching this, we have solutions for you as well. August the 17th, not only are we releasing the genetic profile test, the microbiotics test, but the treatment, we're also releasing something that we call cell signaling technology. Many of you have experienced this, but you don't know that once you get over the age of 30, your body loses 90% of the production of the chemicals in our body that tell your cells to wake up and go to work. Things like hormones and peptides and stem cells and exosomes and microbiotics. And these are all things that we lose our body's ability to perform those as we get over the age of 30. And that's why we start feeling old at 40 and 50. The secret is not taking more Vita vitamins. The secret is getting your cells to wake up and go to work. That's what Ponce de Leon was trying to figure out when he was looking for the fountain of youth. We figured it out. And with our proprietary delivery systems, we're now able to get peptides past the GI tract into the small intestine so you can absorb them and you don't have to do injections like you did before. And we can use a whole formula to help the body do physiologically what we want it to do. But what BioLimitless is not is it's not another Vita Vitamin company. BioLimitless is a parallel healthcare system. And over the next 24 months, we're going to be rolling out that healthcare delivery system that has the ability to be distributed through different networks. One of them being a peer-to-peer network that you can monetize, the people can from. We also have an ability to do brick and mortar facilities. Our goal is to open up 200 facilities over the next 3 years. And I will tell you that we pretty much have everybody that's already said, I'm ready to go and fund these facilities. We have our crowdfunding for this launching on the 17th. You're going to be blown away because that number is not going to be 200. It's going to be closer to 2,000 once we're said and done across the globe. We also have an influencer model that if you're an influencer, if you're a doctor or a telehealth practitioner and you want to share what we're doing through BioLimitless, we have that ability for you. So look, BioLimitless is a project that I've been working on for almost 20 years. In the last 4 years, I've been working really hard on this thing because I knew what was at stake. By the way, we were building BioLimitless at the same time we were fighting against that giant Goliath, and we ultimately won, called the United States federal government. And by the way, we've also spent over $135 million now in R&D and product and development for this project. So this is no joke. We're incorporating stem cells and exosomes. We have cosmetic line coming down the pipe. We have a whole array of oral products for peptides, for wellness solutions that people have, everything from weight loss to muscle gain to you name it. But in August, August 17th, we're launching with our genetic profile test, which will change your life forever. And then the app that we have that'll be on your phone that you can see all the data from, that uses proprietary AI to take all these 800,000 data points and tell you how you should live your life. Because I'll tell you, it doesn't matter how many supplements you take, you cannot out supplement a poor lifestyle. So BioLimitless really and truly is an ecosystem that we've created to disrupt the healthcare industry and to disrupt the wealth care industry. And look, we're not going right at the healthcare industry saying this is the only way to participate. This is a parallel system that's going to allow people to participate in it, and it's going to allow people to use their free will to join into projects. I just had a call with a group of doctors out of the US about 2 hours ago, and they've got over 90 doctors that they can't wait to bring over to this organization. So this project is filling a void for disenfranchised healthcare practitioners that don't have a home. It's filling a void for people who don't have a relationship with healthcare practitioners. And it's also filling a void for people who understand that self-care is the real healthcare, but they don't know how to take care of themselves. We have the opportunity for people to go down that journey with us on all those fronts. So Josh, I know that's a lot of info. I don't want to just throw up on everybody, but I wanted to at least introduce myself, talk a little bit about the project. You tell me what questions you guys have, or which direction you want to go, and I'm happy to go that way.
I appreciate that very much, Dr. Eric Naputi. I got to say, this is extraordinary. There's a massive opportunity here in two ways, right? You've got the health opportunity, which to me at this stage of my life is far more valuable than making money, which obviously I like to do. But you also have a massive financial opportunity, for the physicians, for the doctors, for even the people who own hospitals. And I know you've talked to quite a few of those people, as well as people in e-com, people who are influencers. So this is unlike anything I've seen, especially the way they're delivering the commission structure or the payout structure or the referral structure, or whatever we want to coin that as, through a smart contract, which I think really makes this very unique. And we can get into that a little bit more later. But what I want everyone to know right now is that you're seeing this in a very unique time. This is more of a favor to me and some of our friends here that are participating early, because we weren't supposed to let anyone know anything until our pre-launch, which is the 17th of August here, just on Saturday. And you can see there's 470 plus people on that are hearing it now. I think we just had a couple hundred on our last one. So there's a lot of excitement and a lot of things growing. I want you to hear from a few people that are going to ask some questions. I've had some questions earlier, and everyone that I'm going to introduce here, I've known for about 20 plus years, Eric. And when I first met you and I really decided to participate here, I went to my best friends. I went to the people that I know, I know care about me and are going to tell me the truth.
Yeah.
But also people that are masters in this space, have built major businesses and have built global enterprises. Each one of these people have made $10+ million in personal income, and some in over a year. So these are people that have some great questions, but I think are fired up. But the first one I will go to is James Wiggins. James, I've known 20+ years. James is a fitness master, but also quite the entrepreneur. James, I know you came out to the clinic. Can you come on and share a little bit from your perspective and ask the question that you wanted to ask?
Absolutely. I mean, every time I get on, I listen, I just get more and more educated. I want to give it back to you. Obviously, Josh, man, we go way back. I was a little kid in Long Beach, man, coming to Orange County, and I remember hearing your story and saying, "Wow, I could do this." And we've been locked and loaded for a very long time. Love you, brother. But doctor, we had the opportunity, my wife and I, to fly up to St. Louis, and man, you absolutely changed our life. Seriously, just even in our relationship, and I don't even put that out there. We don't put our stuff out in public, but just really we're even more patient with each other because we've seen some things that we never seen before, right? She just lost her father to cancer. One day he was just started having issues. Next thing you know, he had lung and brain cancer, and that was tragic. And we just laid him to rest a couple months ago. She's been dealing with that, and then ironically, 2 weeks after that, my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer. And so, we go around every day thinking, hey, we're healthy and this and that and this and that. And every time I go to Facebook or social media, a friend of mine then dropped, someone then died. You're hearing this, you're seeing that. And what I got out of coming to St. Louis was number one, man, I got to put my health first because without that, there's no money, nothing matters. The homes, the cars, none of that matters. And thank you. I want to say thank you. And I want to say that for my wife as well. But also, you gave me a breath of fresh air, man, in terms of getting out here, being excited, and being a crusader again. It's been a very long time. It was just making money, right, Doc? We just was making money. It's no passion in making money. We love to make money, but there's no passion and feel good. And I don't even know the comp plan. And we got hundreds and hundreds of people already registered. Don't even care about the comp plan. This could be a dinosaur for all I care because of what we experience. But what I want to say or ask, number one, coming up to St. Louis, we had a brain scan, blood test. We're not going to talk about that tonight because I think I'm about 95 years old. But I know you're going to fix me now. But you hear about the peptides, Doc. You hear about anti-aging, and we know that's like a big, big deal. I mean, is there really a magic bullet? What? Because you're so transparent. We spent all that time with you, and it was no fluff. It was all transparent, the truth. As far as I'm concerned, what would you say to the people that's listening to this for the first time? Is this a magic? Is this the why? What would really excite them to?
Yeah, great question. So James, man, first of all, what you experienced has been one of the coolest things in my last 20 plus years of being a physician, right? Doctor is Latin for teacher. Our job really is to teach people. And for me, when I get to see that aha light go off in somebody like you, like that's mission accomplished, because now you have that light lit where you now are going to go down that road to find out what your health is like. That's what self-care is. It's finding out about yourself, self-discovery, physical, chemical, emotional, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff, right? So here's the reality. When people say, what's the magic cure? Well, there is no such thing as a magic cure. What's the magic vitamin? What's the magic drug? It does not exist. What the key is, you want to know what the magic and longevity is? It's balance. It's balance in three aspects of health. It's the only three aspects of health: physical, chemical, and neuroemotional well-being. We talk about the triad of health. We're going to talk a lot about that in Vegas. There's a triad, a triangle. It's divided by 33.3% on each side. It's 100%. The reality of it is that all doctors have been taught that that's what health is. So my question then is, why are your doctors not measuring your physical, chemical, and neuroemotional well-being to tell you where you're out of balance? Because when you're in balance, James, that's called ease. Ease is a Greek word that means balance. When you get out of balance, that's called dis-ease, dis-ease. When you're physically, chemically, or emotionally out of balance a little bit, that's dis-ease. Now what happens is your body starts having all these changes. Long-term changes is called disease. Let me tell you something. I want to be able to tell you with certainty that your body is either in ease, dis-ease, or disease. 99.99% of the doctors out there only care about your disease. But what if the train was coming and you're standing on the tracks and you knew that if you did X, Y, and Z to get off the train, that's longevity, man. And here's the other thing. Doctors are now telling us, and I believe this to be true, we're going to see people living to be 120, 130, 140. Some doctors are even talking about a lifespan of 200 years of life. That's amazing. But your physiology better be working that way. I don't want to be 200 and feeling like I'm 200. I want to be 90 and feeling like I'm 30, because 130 is the new, this 100 is the new 30. There's a doctor I was just talking to today that wrote a book about that. And as long as you understand how to measure your health and how to manage it properly, most of y'all on this call don't even have a clue what it feels like to feel good. You have no idea what it feels like to feel good. You've accepted the fact that I'm just going to age gracefully. That's BS. That basically means that you've decided that the rest of your life that you're going to decline, you're just accepting that. What if I told you that you didn't have to do that? But what if I told you, James, it's not just a magic pill that gets you to that point, it's a lifestyle. And everybody on here has a different need for their lifestyle. And if you run simple tests like genetic profiles, brain scans, all those things we did with you guys, you can get the map, the key, and the car to drive to your health and longevity, but you still got to drive it. And as far as things that are out there like peptides, by the way, I love peptides. I've been using peptides in my practice now for almost 20 years. Peptides ain't new. It's a new conversation to people because you're hearing about it on TikTok. You're hearing about it because people are buying Ozempic. But peptides have been around for a long time, just like stem cells, just like enzymes, just like master microbes. Other things that signal your cells to wake up have been around. Now, what hasn't been around is the new delivery systems that we have. We have the ability now to take those peptides orally, so you don't have to inject yourself with a needle anymore. We have the ability to take it as a supplement versus a drug, which is a powerful thing. So, James, I know that's kind of a long-winded answer, but I want everybody to know that no two people are identical. Even my wife and her identical twin sister, their genetic profile was completely different. And so they have to live different lifestyles based off of that. And by the way, my wife and I hope my sister-in-law doesn't watch this Zoom, but I'll just tell you, they're identical twins. One of them smoked their whole life, the other one didn't. And you can see the massive differences in their physiology because of that, man. And it really is truly, you need to understand that your health is not dictated just off of your genes. It's off of your lifestyle. We tell people that your genes loads the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger. And I'm telling you, we can help increase longevity massively and quality of life if you do the right things. But you got to know how to take care of yourself, James. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And just one more quick question, Doc. What is the cell signaling technology?
Yeah.
Can you chime in on that real quick before I back to Josh?
Yeah. So, man, I'm gonna blow everybody's freaking mind in Vegas. I got a video I'm gonna show you that's literally gonna show you that if you take a magnifying glass and magnify it enough, we can not only see into your skin, but we can see in and through your cells. What if I told you that inside your cells in your body, you have little machines all over the place? What if I told you that you have little cells going and doing stuff and grabbing this and moving here? I'm going to show it to you. Because once you see how powerful inside you is, then I'm going to show you what your cells are supposed to look like. Then I'm going to show you what happens as you get older. Those cells start to slow down and they don't work anymore. What if there was technology that we could use to wake those cells back up and have them vibrate at a certain frequency, the vibrational frequency that you were when you were in your 20s and 30s? That's cell signaling. And there are certain chemical compounds that we know that signal your cells to wake up. There's certain types of fungi and bacteria. There's certain types of peptides, which are nothing more than just amino acids. There's certain types of exosomes and stem cells. There's certain types of enzymes that wake your cells up. They're the worker bees in your house, right? Like, you need the raw materials, the vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and eating clean food. That's the raw materials to build your body back up. But somebody's got to put it together. And then somebody's got to read the blueprint. That's your DNA. So if you know your DNA, you have technology to get the cells to signal, which we have. And we've been able to clinically prove. Somebody asked about the white papers for the formulas. I'm going to release those on the 17th. We've been able to clinically prove that these actually wake cells up. And we've been able to prove that we can get these peptides that were supposedly impossible to get past the GI tract, which I don't know who said that was impossible, because since 1960 something, we've known about 5 different methods to get it past the GI tract. People just aren't that intelligent. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just they just don't know what they don't know. And so we're going to be showing the studies and papers that shows how we can prove to wake those cells back up, which that really truly is the key for longevity. There you go.
Yeah. I'm done. Josh, I'm
Thank
done.
you. Thank you, James. Matt, yeah, you're just, one of the best leaders I've had the privilege of knowing. And thank you so much for everything that you do and for being here and being a part of this, my man. You bring so much value to the table.
Thank
So
you.
guys, I got a couple more people I want to introduce that have some great questions. First, I wanted to ask about the delivery system before we went into that, because this is a good segment to go into that, because I saw someone in the in the chat say, what's the delivery system? You're just going into the delivery of how to get it through the GI tract. Because for me, up until now, I've been doing the injections, man, and I feel like a pincushion. So I'm really looking forward to this. Tell us about this delivery system.
So we have a global patented proprietary delivery system called phyto micro encapsulation. Let me break that down. Phyto means plants. It's a botanical. So it's a dehydrated plant. Okay. Now, different plants have different pHs, what they break down in. So imagine if I had this is a peptide, by the way. If I had this peptide right here, and I need to get this peptide past my stomach acid that this glass will break up in. Well, I have to encapsulate it in protection. So we encapsulate it, we put a powder coat around it of a certain type of a plant. Then we put another one, so we put 2 coats around it. And then the third one we put around it, that's where the secret sauce really is. That's in the patented formula. We use a really unique form of bonding to it that allows the last layer. I'm trying not to say the word because that's in the patent. Okay. We use this technology to harden the outside to make it kind of spiky and almost like glass. That's what gets past the stomach acid. That first layer then melts into the stomach acid. The second layer, which is at a pH that's between a 6 and a 7.8, sorry, between a 6 and an 8, which then is the same pH as the small intestine. So now it can dissolve in the small intestine. So now the payload has proven that we can get 99% of the peptide payload, 99% of the vitamin payload, 99% of whatever we put in that phytomicroencapsulation into the small intestine, where it's only 1 cell layer thick, okay? And then it can get into the bloodstream. And we've already ran data studies on our formulas to show that we're getting between 60 to 80% absorption of the peptides that we're putting into orally, which is very equivalent to what somebody would do from an injection. And they don't have to take an injection. And it's less of an expense. Like, it's just win-win-win all the way around. So we use that same encapsulation technology to deliver not just the peptides, but also enzymes, also certain nutrients, because now I can take less of the nutrient and get a bigger payload delivery to the target I want to do. This is targeted nutraceuticals, specific for what we're trying to get to accomplish physiology in the body. And we can do the same thing for our master microbiotic formula, which then gives the specific probiotics, which I'm going to tell you, I know you're excited about the peptides, but I'm more excited about what the microbes can do for the gut, because I know what those microbes can do. Peptides are great to wake cells up, but microbes will change your life forever. So anyway, that's the technology that we have on those pieces. We're also using the same thing for our FDA-approved oral delivery for exosomes, which are excretions from stem cells, which we'll be launching in phase 2. So it's all about the delivery mechanism, Josh.
Man, I can't wait to hear. I mean, FDA approval. I hear FDA registration a lot, but FDA approval is a whole different ball game. And I know we're going to be going into more of that on the 17th of August.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get to Chad and Jeree Canella. And the reason why is I've known Chad and Jeree for 25 years, 24 years. And they have an interesting story because they saw us have a post when we were in Japan together. And I didn't know that you were Jeree's doctor. So
well, there's HIPAA. I don't tell who I don't kiss and tell.
well, I know
it's just the way it is.
you keep that, you keep your, yeah, I get that's important. But Jeree's like, man, what do you do with he changed my life. And that really brought you to a whole new level in my mind. Cause yeah, I already liked you. I'm already like, man, this guy's super intelligent. I already had done my research, but when one of my good friends I'd known for a very long time said that you literally saved her life, she was dying. And now she's, I mean, vibrant and healthy as ever. And so Jeree Canella, Chad Canella, are you there?
I'm here. Hey. Wow, what an incredible introduction. And I'm so excited to be here, you guys. Yes, I met Dr. Naputi in January of 21, and I was at my sickest. I've been in the industry for a very long time, made millions of dollars here, but that same industry that we love also cost me a lot because I wasn't taking care of myself like I should have been, because I was just turned on all the time, just constantly go, go, go. So when I met Dr. E, I had been seeing 4 different medical specialists in different fields of medicine. They diagnosed me with non-alcoholic fatty liver, Meniere's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune disorders, chronic pain, you name it, all the things that I later found out after meeting Dr. E that they were just dumpster diagnoses that doctors give you when they don't know the root cause of your issue. And so I have the incredible honor of just speaking to his credibility and his integrity and his godly character, because he's sitting up here and he's talking about how doctors are supposed to be teachers. And he spent hours with me just teaching me about my body and why it is the way that it is. And I'll never forget whenever he looked at me and he said, "Hey, look, you're not in good shape. Like, you really need to take your health very seriously. It's imperative. You're not the worst case of leaky gut I've ever seen, but you're one of the worst. But don't worry. You just have to know that God's going to be able to heal you. And if you'll just listen to me and do all the things that I ask you to do, in 90 days, your health will turn completely around." And when I tell you guys that my health turned completely around, I'm so very thankful for Dr. Naputi and for Dr. Kestner, who he referred me to in Nashville. Just the care that I got was unparalleled. And so thank you, doctor. And what I wanted to ask you is about leaky gut. Like, would you just go into more detail? Because I didn't realize that all of my issues, including the Meniere's disease, was linked to my gut. So will you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, it's always so great to hear you guys, and I love hearing that story about you. And it's just what I do, why we do what we do. Because there's a lot of what people don't see is a lot of the tough days to get to the good days, right? I know everybody on here can appreciate that. But look, as far as leaky gut goes, I'm telling you that 95% of the world's population is dealing with this problem. 95%, at least 95% of the world's population that lives a standard American diet or eats Western type of a food plan. If you're eating the standard American diet, if you've had antibiotic use, if you have stress in your life, you have leaky gut. Basically, I'll keep it real simple. When we eat food, we chew food, it goes in our stomach, goes into our intestines. The majority of that gets absorbed in the small intestine. It's only 1 cell layer thick. Your cell layers are held together by these little tight junctions. Well, when your body's under stress, when your hormones are out of whack, when you lose your peptides, when you eat the standard American diet, or if you're emotionally, chemically, or physically stressed out, what happens is those junctions start to separate. And now what happens is the toxins that you have in your intestinal tract start to leak out slowly. By the way, if you know anyone who's ever had their appendix rupture, they have to have surgery immediately or else they're going to die from sepsis. Because you literally have enough toxins in your intestinal tract to kill probably everybody in your building right now. I mean, literally, that's how powerful this stuff is. So not only do the toxins leak out, and when they leak out, they leak into the brain, they leak into the immune system, they leak into your blood, they leak into your organs. That causes autoimmune issues. It causes chronic inflammation. It causes chronic pain. It causes organs to shut down. It messes up blood sugar issues, causes your body not to be able to burn fat because it shuts down your liver, shuts off your adrenals. I mean, it's literally everything. It's literally everything. And 90% of your immune system is in your gut. So whenever your gut's bad, your immune system's bad. This list goes on and on and on. In fact, they've found that leaky gut is one of the major contributing factors to things like anxiety, depression, insomnia, you name it. So we know there are ways to heal leaky gut. We have to change up the diet. But how do we change up your diet? Because you might be eating healthy for you, but not for somebody else. I told this story not too long ago on a Zoom. We had a woman who came to see us. She had leaky gut plus a lot of other issues. And she's eating healthy. Like, she's literally having kale and spinach and grass-fed beef and all the things that you would think would be like healthy. She still wonders why every time she eats a meal, she looks like she's 3 months pregnant. She's going to get sick and she's depressed the next day. We did a DNA test on her and found out that she cannot methylate, number one, which means she can't detox. And number two, she can't digest oxalates. So oxalates are spinach, kale, and grass-fed beef. She's eating the 3 foods that are killing her, literally, but she doesn't know that because no one had ever ran those precision tests on her. So we were able to uncover the perfect food plan for her, the perfect supplementation plan for her. And now, like, this is what I'm more excited about than anything. Like, you have no idea, like, Drew, you have no idea how excited I am for you to have this new formula that's out. Like, so many of my patients, like yourself, that I've got this new delivery system. We've got this new formula. Here's what we did. We took the 7 fungi and bacteria that are normally in a region of the world called the blue zones. Blue zones are the areas of the world where people live to be over 100 regularly, but they're productive, and they're not only 100, but they still function at 100, and they still contribute to their community. Well, we took all those bacteria that are all deficient, by the way, in industrialized cultures like ours. We used our phytomicroencapsulation. We used spore-based bacteria instead of cultured-based bacteria, which is very difficult to do unless you have a delivery system. It's way more effective. It's way more beneficial, but it's much harder to implement. So we put that in. And now, instead of having to use 4 formulas to help somebody get their leaky gut fixed, so they're taking 4 formulas, and those 4 formulas are like $200 a month between all 4 of them. Now they know what foods to eat based off of their genes. And now they take one other thing, and that's it. And that's it. And we're healing like 80+% of people with leaky gut. The other 20% are either not doing what we're asking them to do, or we need to add some peptides to their system. So I'm telling you that one of the biggest pandemics that causes chronic pain, chronic fatigue, any type of autoimmune issues, allergies, food allergies, environmental allergies, skin problems, hormone problems, weight gain, the list goes on and on. It all goes back down to your gut. And yes, it's that simple. And so I couldn't be more excited to be able to have a solution to help, number one, diagnose this more effectively for people. Number 2, educate people on what to do. And number 3, have a solution for them to take back home and start putting back to work. So hope that helps.
Absolutely
Big time.
love it.
Yeah.
Man, that helps so much. And you know, Dr. Naputi, I got to go down there the first time, and I mean, we were driving 5 hours because we couldn't find anybody around our area that was actually helping or teaching, right? So drove 5 hours. So I remember coming down there in February, late February of 21, and sitting in your office, and you took like 30 minutes because we recorded it on voice memo, and you literally walked us through like this whole concept of root cause and finding the root cause. And no, we can't detox you yet because that would be bad. We have to go back and we get your gut right first. And we start with step 1, which fixes other things. And I was just mind blown. And it's crazy for me because it's kind of nostalgic for me to be on this Zoom because I met Josh back in October of 2000. And we just kind of always stayed in touch over the years. He was my first mentor, really true mentor in business. And I know his mentors on here. And it's very, very nostalgic for me. But, you know, there's key moments, I think, that is just, it's life-changing. It's a shift in life that happens. And one for me was meeting Josh back then. And then of course, coming to your office and seeing what just learning, just taking the time. I was like, man, does this guy just have all day to sit here? You usually get in an office and they're like, you're in and out in like 3 minutes and you feel like kind of a little violated. And you're like, well, I didn't learn nothing. I just got my prescription, right?
Yeah.
And so meeting you and then seeing you guys together, I'll never forget June 4th of this year, seeing you, Dr. Naputi, and Josh in Tokyo, Japan on a post. And I'm like, what in the heck are these guys doing? And that was just a couple months ago, and that started our journey. So my question is this, you know, I'm in this now. I'm like, okay, now I have a source. I have a place I can go and learn some truth. So, you know, we say self-care is a new healthcare. So I have to wait and hope that a professional, a doctor is going to tell me what to do. So I know you have a podcast. I know you're teaching us all the time, but what are some, when you say self-care is a new healthcare, where can average people like us go and just get truth? You know, what kind of tools will we have?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, I mean, doctor totally is Latin for teacher, and that's like my biggest thing. And to your point, we've been able to systematize education and systematize production within practices, which is why I can spend time with my patients to help them, because the process is happening behind the scene and I just get to play in the playground, which is so fun as a doctor. And we teach doctors, by the way, how to get better results, help their patients more effectively. And let's just call the business what it is, make more money doing it. Like win-win-win, right? So Chad, you know, we do have podcasts that are available, you know, our Pep Talk podcast. I wasn't going to really talk much about this until Vegas, but I did yesterday. So I've been working on something for a while. I wrote a book. Okay. Another one. This is called Becoming BioLimitless. And what's so cool about this book, I wasn't even supposed to say anything until April, until the Vegas deal, but it is what it is. So I'll give you guys a link where you guys can go find this, because it literally has everything that I'm going to talk about at the Vegas event. It's in there with details and work summaries and all that stuff. It's got my 10 favorite biohacks in here. I mean, it talks about peptides 101, gut health 101, DNA 101, cell signaling, all this stuff that I'm talking about. People always say, where can I learn more about it? Well, I wrote a freaking book, so you can have that. That's number one. And then, what's really cool is we solved a big problem, Chad, that I've had for almost 20 years. And the problem was, okay, I just came from wherever in the world to go meet with Dr. Naputi. Now, where do I go? What do I do now? Do I got to fly back from Japan, every 3 months to be seen? Well, one of the beautiful things that we're doing is on the 17th, we're launching our crowd fund. We're going to open up 200 centers all across the globe within this community, which is amazing, because now it'll be a community-driven BioLimitless centers of excellence. I mean, think about these offices are going to be like, Apple and freaking Tesla had a baby with the coolest health and wellness center on the planet. The vibe is going to be off the chain high. People are going to be able to get to the root cause. The level of empowerment that our members of our BioLimitless centers of excellence are going to have, they're going to know their health, man. And by the way, our folks that do the genetic test at home and use the app to find out about themselves, they're going to be empowered too. But man, to be able to have a place where you can go, where like, I love talking to my financial planner and my CPA, because at the end of the day, I know they got me covered. I don't got to worry about it because they got me covered. Now you're going to have a place globally that you can go to, that we got you covered for all your health and wellness needs. It's amazing what's going to happen with that. So we got that. And then, man, we created this app, Chad, that everybody's going to have. It's biolimitless.life app. And this app is not just your genetic profile, but it's going to have educational information on it. I mean, it's going to teach you what to eat, how to sleep, how to exercise. I mean, 99.99% of what we're really about is education. So you're probably going to get tired of listening and hearing me and other doctors like me, because we're going to constantly be hitting that, educational component. After the launch, we're going to be doing at least 2 Zoom calls a week, one for professionals to go on a deep dive about science, and then another one that's going to be for the rest of us lay folks, just to understand more of the conversation pieces. And by the way, almost everything that I'm going to talk about is in this book. And I made it really simple. And Josh, I put pictures in here, so you'll enjoy it as well.
Good.
Okay?
I need that.
Yeah.
That.
But it's really, Chad, it's really a whole process of what we've got. So hopefully that helps answer your question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chad, Jerry. Massive love to you both. I'm excited seeing you guys in Vegas here soon. All right, a couple more people, and we're gonna wrap this up, because there's a couple more things I think that are important for everyone. But this next person's also very near and dear to me. One of my closest friends and business partners, and someone I admire and respect, but also has made a absolute fortune in this business. A 8-figure guy, or done billions in sales, and so he really understands the space. And he was one of the first people I also talked to, because I'm like, man, I want him to be at least have his eyeballs on this, because I know he's one of those guys. He just tells me straight, and I've shown him a lot of things, and most everything's like, nah, I love you, Josh. Go, I think you're gonna do good, but he's one of those people who tells me the truth, and so I respect it. And it's his birthday today, and he's on for his birthday. And so Daryl Drake, the $100 million man, you here?
I'm here, Josh. Can you hear me?
I can, my man. I can. Happy birthday, sir.
Well, thank you, thank you. I'm excited to be here. When I say here, I don't mean I am excited to be on the call, but I'm also excited to be here, man. I just feel like this birthday is going to be one of the most has been one of the most defining. I'm 35 now, and I just feel, I don't know, man. I just feel like I have the answer, and it's kind of interesting, because you don't know you're looking for something until you find it, and you're like, I was looking for that. And I just think it's interesting how the universe kind of conspires to make things happen the way that you want them to happen. And going out to St. Louis, man, was literally life changing. I was all prepared. I'll be honest with you. I rock with you. You're my brother from another mother, but I was really prepared to tell you no, man. And just watching you transform, watching you take this thing seriously, from the health side, because we hadn't even talked about the money or the comp plan. This was just watching you as my brother literally go, I mean, from like a pot belly to like a six pack, right? Like flabby arms to like, if anyone messes with me, I'm calling you, right? And so uh that part just really, really inspired me. And then going out there, and even before meeting Dr. Naputi, I had the pleasure to actually to talk to him when we were at your condo, and just, we've been here, man. I've come from this industry of direct sales. I've been in it 10 years. I've done hundreds of millions in sales. And I've seen it. I've heard it. So, sitting with Dr. Naputi and really not even knowing who he was to this entire thing at that time. This is kind of funny because I'm sitting there talking to him and I walk upstairs, they're all in the pool. I didn't know what was going on. I just think that this is another guy here to hear about the stuff that I'm here to hear about. And I'm starting to hear him talk, and his passion behind what he's saying and his knowledge behind what he's saying. And I had seen what Josh was doing, and I started my process. And the fact that Dr. Naputi was so excited to just say, hey, listen, what are you taking? And I said, listen, I started off with my blood work, and my blood work told me that I'm pre-diabetic. I have thyroid issues. I could, and so everything that I was feeling, he was like, okay, this is good. This is good. You don't really need this. This is, and it was just, it's like we have a coach for everything. You talked about like a CPA, you talk about all this stuff, and it's like, who is really coaching you for health? And I came from an industry where I came from a company where, I again, hundreds of millions in revenue, and I was providing a solution to a problem that had not been diagnosed. So how many of us have been in that situation where we're like, you cut us and we're bleeding the color of the company, only to really realize that we're not really solving an issue if we don't really know what the issue is. Just because you think it's okay to detox doesn't mean it's okay to detox, right? And so I got really excited because starting off with my blood work and really just seeing like this is something that can actually help me, and then just talking to my parents about it, like talking to my dad. My dad's excited about it. My dad's been in law enforcement 20 something years, and he's all in shape, and he's like, yeah, I've been hearing about the peptides, but he's a little like kind of older, and he's had some problems with the internet, and he's like, yeah, I've been trying to get my hands on this, and so I'm like, I have it. I will have it as of August 17th, and so just really excited about that. But my question to you, Doc, is I know that when you have something like this, as valuable as this, people are going to want to get their hands on it. And as you start to speak about the Limitless centers, that is what really, really caught my attention, because being in network marketing and talking to my friends and family, and that part of it is great, right? I love that part. But you're doing something really revolutionize the industry by saying, hey, listen, there's also another part to this, to where you can actually walk into a brick and mortar and sit with a professional and really get this stuff done. So can you talk to me just a little bit about like, what is that process going to look like? If I'm not a doctor, can I open up a Limitless center?
Yeah.
Like just kind of, how does that work?
Yeah, Daryl, great question. First of all, happy birthday, man. Hope you have an amazing day today. Second of all, yeah, you 100% don't have to be a physician to own this. This is a business, and you can have an opportunity to be an owner of a business. By the way, just so you know, I've already had multiple very wealthy individuals come up and say, "Hey, I want to buy like 20 of these," and I said, "No, we're not doing that," because what we want is we want to have the community. And I told this guy, I said, look, you can stick a couple $100,000 in a whole bunch of these centers. By the way, that's probably going to be good to diversify your portfolio. Okay. Because I don't want to be beholden to one individual. I don't want to be beholden to, the powers that be, the insurance companies, any of that kind of stuff that's part of the system that's broken already. So the process is real simple. We're going to actually go into that in depth on the 17th. In fact, we have one of our attorneys that's going to be there talking about what does it mean for you as a U.S. citizen to be part of a crowdfund? What does it mean as a U.S. citizen to help be part of a business and raise capital and all that? So we're going to go over the legalities of it. There's an application process. There's two types of raises that we're going to do. We have a Reg D raise, which you're going to have to be a qualified investor to do that. And then 3 months later, there's a crowdfund raise that all retail people can participate. So there's ways for people to participate on all different types of investment categories, if you will. But let me tell you this. What we did was we wanted to make it super unique, something literally that no one's ever done before. So I told you BioLimitless, which is the parent company in the middle. One of the companies to the side of it is BioLimitless Centers of Excellence. Well, we're allowing our network to crowdfund for that those facilities. So what's amazing is the people that participate in the crowdfunding for that and the network are going to also monetize off of how the brick and mortar facility works. So literally, because one of the, and I hate this thing, the scarcity and victim mentality that's in so many industries, and it's definitely in the peer-to-peer network marketing industry, is, oh, it has to be exclusive to me because I'm so victimized that if it's not exclusive to me, then somebody else is going to undersell me. We made it so that as long as the network is participating and working proper, the network can monetize off the brick and mortar. The network can monetize off of the influencer model. The network can monetize off of all these, because if it is going to be a true system that is by the people, of the people, and for the people, I want the people promoting it. I want you to say, go down to my wellness center and go get checked out. I want you to refer all your friends, family, and loved ones to it. It makes so much sense to have a community-driven center, which is why, Daryl, when we first came out and said, look, we're going to do 200 of these, it's honestly probably going to be closer to 2,000 of these, because everybody wants to put one on every corner of every neighborhood that they live in, because they understand the value of how amazing and impactful this can be. So we're going to talk more about that in Vegas in depth and detail. And by the way, there will be corresponding, webinars and events and stuff afterwards, so people can understand how they can participate. But I can promise you, this is going to go fast.
I'm gonna tell you something, Doc. When you first, your energy is always contagious. Every time I talk to you, you're like on 10. But when you were talking to me about this, I'm like, yeah, the BioLimitless Center. I mean, how many people really go to these centers? Like, it's just relax. It's not that big of a deal. And it's kind of like whatever you start thinking, you start seeing it. And literally, you could even, Josh, you could chime in on this later. But I mean, all throughout the week, I'm like, either Doc is just putting this stuff, in my face intentionally, or these things are on every corner. I kid you not. Every phone call that I've had, and I've talked to probably close to 200 people over the last 2 weeks about this opportunity, and it's only one or two things. Either they already are doing it, right? They're already familiar. They're selling me on it, or they don't know anything about it. You taught them on the call, and they're like, I need to get my hands on it. August 17th is too far away. And so it just opened, I always say you don't know what you don't know. And it just opened my eyes. And now every time I'm driving, I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like they're
Daryl,
everywhere.
let me speak into that for just a minute, because so when you guys came to St. Louis, I intentionally had you come down to one of my practices that I've had for almost 20 years. It's in a little strip mall in what I like to call Upper Lemay, Missouri, which is Lemay, which is, it's the armpit of Missouri, right? There's great people there. It's been a great business, but I wanted you to see that for two reasons. Number one, because some days over 400 people a day go through those practices. Okay. That's a lot of people. And number two, and I'm just telling you from a business standpoint, that little bitty hole in the wall practice that don't hardly cost anything to run brings in about $7 million a year in revenue. And I can promise you that the people that are on every corner, Daryl, aren't doing that. And so those folks that already have wellness centers, but aren't running them with the right systems, processes, testing, and etc., and it's not driven by the community, those are easy to convert over to BioLimitless Centers of Excellence. So we truly have an opportunity for everybody. I just got done speaking to one of the most well-known cardiologists in America, who is opening up centers right now and is now deciding to take a pause because he wants to see if he should just join forces with what we're doing at BioLimitless instead of opening up his own deal. because that's what I'm telling practitioners is you got to stop being out there on a silo by yourself. What if there was a system that you could run a better practice? What if there was a marketing machine that could help drive, valid people to your world? What if there was a community driving it? What if you were a part of something bigger than yourselves? And I will tell you that 90% of doctors and owners of wellness centers would say, please, for the love of God, let me get involved with something like that, because what I'm doing ain't working. And that's a fact.
Well, that's all I got.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do this for like 5 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and move myself out of the way. Thank you so much, Josh. That was my only question, man. I'll see you guys this weekend.
All right.
Massive
birthday.
love, Daryl, man. I'm so happy you were born, brother. You bring a lot of light to the world.
Thanks,
Hey, man, one more, just one more. I got to say this with Daryl. Daryl's just sending me. He's like, man, this video, that. He's showing me all these different places. Like, man, they don't have what we have. They don't have what you're doing. And I was looking through the scroll filming. This is, I'm happy because I see so many of my good friends, people I've known forever. I see Alan Early here, man. I haven't seen Alan in forever. Ben Kane, my mentor, guy who first taught me to believe in myself. Beck and Phil out of Australia, and a couple legends here: Michael Stern, Chuck Hansen, Richard Cotton. You guys are just extraordinary. Built a million-person organization worldwide, and this brings it to the final person I'm going to introduce, who needs real no introduction from most of this crew, is Mr. Angel Lee. Angel's been just a vital friend of mine for many years, and one of the best business partners I've had the privilege of having, because he always does what he says he's going to do. He's one of those guys that just doesn't, it doesn't matter. You can set your watch to him because, he's the definition of integrity. At least that's been my experience with him as long as I've known him. And, he's consulted billion-dollar companies. He's been all over the world. I didn't think he'd get as excited about this until he spent some time with you, Doctor, in Japan when we went out there. And I'll just let him share the story. But Angel Lee, the one and only.
Thank you, Josh. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Well, this is awesome. By the way, Dr. Eric, thank you for the time you spent in Japan with us. Josh was kind to invite me for what I thought was going to be a business meeting, turned into a life-changing moment. My wife has been going through some issues. What you shared with her has changed her way that she sees her life, and I thank you for that. Also, St. Louis, was a great visit. I appreciate that. My son's test, he was so happy that he scored a really high blue-green brain. So now we put it on the refrigerator and said, okay, now you have no excuse. You've got to do your homework. So thank you for that. That's very, very helpful. A couple of things I want to ask, but first, I got involved in many industries. Did billions of dollars in direct sales, then did the same thing in financial technology, and then also real estate, all that kind of stuff. So I've been more focused on the business models of things, not so much, just only the money or other things that sometimes are more involved in the direct sales space. But I remember my mentor telling me early on in life, he says, understand that I was in search in the beginning of wanting to make money. That was my because I grew up in poverty. So, making money was important. Living off $5 a month, you want to be able to make something out of your life and take care of your parents. And my mentor set me down. He said, the first half of your life, you spend most of your, time trying to acquire money, sacrificing your health. You spend the rest of your life trying to sit there and pay to get back your health. And so, that was intriguing. So that's when I saw this, and you spent a significant amount of time with my wife going over. I saw your passion. I saw your caring. I saw, obviously what you have there. And that impacted me at a level that I was shocked and surprised by. So thank you for that. And you also, a lot of people I've talked with, I'm mainly interested in understanding, how this is going to help people's lives around the world. That's really my legacy and mission here, and I resonate with that. Josh, I've watched Josh go from, he's always been a great looking guy and in good shape, but he went from the dad body to golly, he looks like now just amazing. And I remember asking Josh, what are you doing? He's like, well, I work out hard, I eat right. He says, but I'm doing these peptide things. So when I first heard about peptides from you, I didn't know what it was. I knew Josh had done extremely well with it for about a year. I thought, wow, this definitely helps a lot. And, then I started researching peptides and realized that everything from articles on Netflix to things in Tony Robbins' book, chapter 3, is all on peptides, So the top of the top of the top of the food chain of people that are well-informed, educated, and telling you about the best of health and life, writing bestsellers, are all talking about peptides. So I said, okay, I need to understand this. This is safe. It's fantastic. So many people ask me, well, they're like me, they may or may not understand peptides and things like that. So they're asking, I got two questions. One is, can you explain what a peptide is really?
Yeah.
And, you said that you have $130 million of R&D already. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So Angel, first of all, great questions. And I remember your son's brain scan, probably one of the best I've ever seen. So great kid you got there. So look, a peptide's really simple. A peptide is nothing more than a chain of amino acids. Everybody knows what amino acids are. Amino acids come from protein. They either come from animal protein or plant protein. So when you digest and break down your protein, that then makes something called amino acids. These amino acids get put into a chain, and their length is either 2 links up to 200 links. So they could be really tiny, or they could be, they're still really tiny, but up to 200 chains in it. A peptide is nothing more than a program for your computer. Okay, your body's like a giant machine. I will show you in Vegas. The video will blow your mind how the body works. And so think about this little chain of amino acids going down on a cellular level and essentially waking up those cells. Angel, what those peptides do, there are different combinations of peptides that signal to different cells. Some are for nerve cells, some are for bone cells, some are for, organ cells, you name it. Some produce hormones, some reduce inflammation. They all do different things, but they're nothing more than safe little codes. And by the way, what I use is we use something called microdosing. And microdosing of peptides allows us to have a little dose over a long period of time, which, by the way, is exactly what the medical world is going towards now with Ozempic and trizepatide, because they flooded people with these massive injections, caused major side effects and problems because they went against what nature is supposed to do. And now they're all microdosing, which is what we've been doing now in my practices for almost 2 decades. But these peptides, especially like the formula that I'm rolling out with, let me say this last thing. The first formula has 3 peptides in it. It's a tripeptide formula. And it does 2 main things. Number one, it detoxifies our cells, which is a massive problem that we have in the world. And the second thing it does, it wakes up the cells and produces ATP energy. So all of you that your get up and go, got up and went, this formula helps your body wake those cells back up. And Angel, part of that $135 million that we've spent now on R&D involves peptides, involves stem cells, involves, all those things. And I'm going to release some of the data and the research on the 17th so people can see the studies and how it all kind of sorts out and et cetera. But yeah, it's a powerful tool.
Thank you, sir. Now, you mentioned the key word. My second question is exactly that. We hear this buzzword for the past decade, stem cells.
Yeah.
And when I heard you talk about exosomes that are, can you explain that, how important the exosomes are?
Yeah. So stem cells, the best way to explain a stem cell is it's a cell that our body produces. And by the way, the younger we are, the more we produce those cells and the better those cells are produced. We get over the age of 30, we lose 90% of our body's ability to make those cells. These are called undifferentiated cells, cells that haven't decided what they want to be when they grow up. So this cell may start out as a stem cell and turn into a bone cell or a muscle cell or a liver cell or a cell for your immune system to fight off cancer. Well, stem cells make something called exosomes. Exosomes are the orchestra and the symphony inside of the stem cells that does the work. The scientific community has been able to extract the exosomes, which are cleaner, safer, and more efficient, by the way. They don't have side effects. We're able to now extract those, put those into either a liquid form or a powdered oral form, and now we can take those same exosomes daily by mouth using the same technology, get it past the stomach into the small intestine. And I'll tell you, like Joe Rogan just made stem cell IVs very popular. He had Mel Gibson on his show, and Mel Gibson was talking about how his father went and did some exosome stem cell IVs for neurocognitive decline. So they put them in the bloodstream. Why? So that those cells will go wherever they need to go to regenerate the tissue. And that's what exosomes do. So instead of having to do an IV of that, we can now do it orally. By the way, Angel, we're able to do it literally for pennies on the dollar for the cost of what an injection would normally be. It really is absolutely a game changer what this technology can do.
Thank you for that. I'd like to hand over to a good friend of mine now, a guy named Michael Stern. Michael is a legend in business. I shared this with him on a phone call. He was super busy with all the things he's doing. Really incredible guy. And by the way, I use the phrase, "This is not rocket science." Well, he is a rocket scientist. That is his career from the past. So brilliant, intelligent guy, came to the event we had in Scottsdale, and no, I'll just let him talk about the rest. So Michael, you here? Talked to him a moment ago. He said he'd be here for us.
Mr. Stern. Well, let's see. Maybe he can unmute himself. Let me try to do that. Let me find you, Michael.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Angel and Dr. Napute.
Good to see you.
Your conversations that I've heard multiple times now, different variations. Every time I'm like experiencing more and more layers of revelations, and I mean it's just striking on so many different points. I know that we're kind of been running on this. The one thing I'd love if you could just add a little bit more to the cell signaling product. On some of the other calls, you mentioned what the 3 peptides are that are in there, and I've never been able to quite get that on one of the calls before. But I am just completely stoked about being out there next week or this coming Saturday, and I can't wait to get the book and everything else. So thank you so very much.
Well, thank you, Michael, and thanks for the question. So the formula, cell signaling formula, is a 3 peptide formulation. And I'll tell you the 3 peptides. First of all, it has a peptide called BPC157, which is a peptide primarily referred to as the Wolverine peptide. Why? Because Wolverine, the X-Men comic book character, you can't kill him. Every time you cut him, he grows back. Well, that's not exactly what this peptide does, but it causes your cells to grow back at a rapid rate, which is huge because the quality of your health is in direct proportion to the health of your cells. Number 2, it has a peptide called Cmax. Cmax is a neuroprotective peptide. It helps with the BDNF receptors. So a lot of times people will get problems like fatigue, anxiety, brain fog, depression, sleeplessness, waking up, falling asleep at night, scattered sleep, all kinds of neurocognitive issues. Cmax has been clinically proven to help with a lot of those problems and improve the brain and nervous system function. The 3rd peptide in there is ipamorelin. Ipamorelin is a really important peptide because it helps the body produce growth factor naturally on its own without causing any side effects to the pituitary, the gonads, or anything like that. These are peptides. Why is it important to have growth factor? Well, 2 big reasons. Number 1, growth factor helps improve muscle mass in the body, right? Why do we need more muscle mass? Number 1, muscle mass is needed to prevent injuries. Almost every single type of osteoarthritis, degenerative arthritis is caused by some type of muscle mechanical imbalance, a weakening of some muscle somewhere. The second thing that is so important with having good muscle mass and growth hormone to produce that, the number 1 organ in the body that keeps glucose levels under control, which is your blood sugar, which is like the key to everything, are your muscles. Your muscles absorb glycogen after workouts. That's why if you want to fix diabetes, just stop eating breads, pastas, grains, sugars, and start pushing weights around. And the chance of having type 2 diabetes is like non-existent. I'll show you how to fix that at some other time. But Michael, not only do we have those 3 peptides in there, I put 2 really specific types of B vitamins in there. I put something called methylcobalamin, which is the most bioavailable, usable form of B12, which is essential. And I also put L-methylfolic acid in there, L-methylfolate. It's a methylated form of folate. Why? Because 85%, I promise you, of the population has an MTHFR gene imbalance, which is like the cause of thyroid issues, anxiety, depression, infertility with females, hormone imbalances, weight gain. I mean, the list goes on and on how bad MTHFR is. Those 2 formulas, those 2 products in there helps counterbalance the MTHFR problem. It allows people to methylate again. And then I put 2 amino acids in there. One of them is an amino acid that will give you energy, but it'll keep you calm. So this formula will give you that calm intensity. And what most people will do with this formula is they'll take one pill in the morning and they'll have their second one midday. That way, what happens is you'll get that nice little peak of your ATP and energy production. And then midday again, you'll get another one. We don't want to take this formula at nighttime. At nighttime is when we take the master microbiotic formula. But Michael, the whole key is getting your cells to turn back on, to detox them and to stimulate them. We do that. That literally turns people's biological clock backwards.
Wow. That's amazing. I'm sure all of us want our biological clock to go backwards. I love 100 is the new 30. So,
and we can measure that now. There's a difference between biological and chronological age. Our genetic profiling test actually measures that with people. So you're 100% right, Michael, 100%.
Wow, so that's another data point. You get that biological versus chronological.
This is all data driven. All of this is data driven.
Excellent. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Stern. Appreciate you being here as always. Angel Lee, everyone else, amazing. Guys, I know we're 15 minutes past the hour here, still over 400 people here. The excitement is amazing. Last question you can handle in a second, because everything's pointing towards Las Vegas. People are asking about the reports. They're asking about the studies. They're asking about FDA approval. I just saw, is there a double blind study on where'd it go? I lost it. Anyways, I asked about double-blind studies of whether you can prove the regeneration of tissue or hair. And I know everyone's excited about that. And what people can expect when they're there. I know we're going to give out some product. I know we're going to give out some. We're going to have testing, maybe kits. If you just share what people are going to get when they get there, and then we'll shut up and you can go on.
So here's what they're going to get: a lot of information, a ton of information. In fact, I had to dial it back because I wanted to just get on stage and for 8 hours just tell you everything that you need to know. But we're going to baby step our way through it. So here's how Vegas is going to flow, just so you guys have an idea of the program. We start at 9 a.m. sharp, okay? Please try to get a good night's sleep before. I know it's Vegas, but I promise you we can go out and have a good time Saturday night, because you're going to want to be on point for this deal. So from 9 a.m. until around 12:30, maybe 12:45, depending on how quick I talk at the end, that first part of the day is all about the healthcare, the problems, solutions, technology. I'll show you studies. I'll show you all this stuff, okay? You can have access to all of it. What we don't cover at the Vegas deal, you're going to be able to go on the websites and be able to look all this other stuff up, okay? So that's the first half of the day. We're going to take a little break for lunch. We're going to come back at 2 o'clock, okay? At 2 o'clock until 5 o'clock, we're going to be talking a lot about the wealth care. We talked about healthcare the first part, but then we're going to be mixing the wealth care in on the second part. Man, you don't want to miss some of the cool conversations we're going to have on the technology part, on the compensation part. We're going to be talking about the BioLimitless Centers of Excellence. We're going to be talking about the power of the crowd fund. We're going to be having all these conversations going in there. And at the end, I'm going to come back up, kind of tie it all up, button it up, and etc. At the event, everybody's going to have access. They can literally push go that day to get the brand new. Oh, I meant to tell you this too. I had all you guys and gals that came to St. Louis. I got all your genetic tests done. You should be getting an email on those, okay? But here's the cool thing. Listen to this. So I told you we have an 800,000 SNP test. 250 of them are actionable right now, which is the highest test that's out there on the market, period. There are people out there charging $800, $900 for 5 SNPs that tell you nothing. And then it's one and done. You have to go back and run those tests again to get more info. We're running 800,000. We just got another 100 SNPs added to that 800,000. Now I've got a new test. So what I'm going to do is all of you folks that were at the St. Louis deal, I'm going to get you the new updated kit. Instead of it being a saliva, it's a spit test. And this one you'll never, ever, ever, ever have to do again in your life, because now all those new SNPs that are coming up, you're going to get emails and texts and messages when those new SNPs come up. It is ridiculous the amount of information that we're able to give people at that. So all that's going to be ready at the Vegas event. We're going to be, we have a couple freebies of giveaways. I'm not going to tell you what those are until you come, but there's some cool free stuff we're going to give you. Plus, I told you kind of one of the cool freebies.
Tell us. I'm just kidding.
One of the freebie. Daryl, it's your birthday. I'll give you some for your birthday. But Vegas is going to be great, man. We have a lot to cover, And then I believe a lot of us are going to probably go out afterwards and just celebrate a amazing, successful launch. And then we're off to the races.